Hi, welcome to Smith and Grezzy. This is episode, believe it or not, 45. And we've got a very, very special guest, the one and only Garry Cutt, the Marple Maestro, as he is well known. Welcome, Garry, from me and Sandy.
Morning, Garry. Morning.
It looks really nice and sunny where you are, even though that's probably one of these auto-generated photos at the back of your computer.
It is in the background, but yes, it is actually here in the capital in Glossop. On the week of Whit Friday as we're recording.
Absolutely. So, Garry, what we wanted to do, you've been on a couple of podcasts before, and we thank you very much for that, especially the Elgar Howarth one. But we wanted to get to a position where our listeners could get to know a lot more about you, because there's a lot to know.
I'm getting old.
Yeah, we all are.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Garry, where did it all start then for you? School or band?
Yeah. Actually, before secondary school, both my parents, quite not sure how they afforded it, but they put myself and Gordon, my elder brother, into piano lessons with the local headmaster's wife when we were both 7 years old.
Okay.
Wow.
And as it turned out, that would become very beneficial to me later in life, conducting. So I followed in Gordon's steps into Glossop School Brass Band, which in its day was the school band of the country.
It was,
a lot of big names have come through that band that went on to play with your Black Dyke Mills, Fairies, Fordens, you name it, your Jeff Harrods, Nigel Fieldings, Jim Ken, etc. And many others stayed local in the area, which is just as important. So around Glossop, there are many villages still have their own brass band, it's a great tradition. But it all started there with a guy called Jack Fletcher, he was the head of woodwork, believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
But his enthusiasm must have generated literally hundreds of brass players to a very good standard, which, that started us off.
I actually know that Gordon started on God's Instrument. Was it Double B? He was a Double B player, wasn't he?
He was indeed, yes. I think my mum was horrified when he came home with it. But,
We've got something in common then.
Yeah.
So what did you start on, Garry?
On cornet.
Right.
And Gordon got me an instrument from the band. My mum was a dinner lady, as was Jim Cant's mother at the school. So Gordon came on with a cornet for me before the 6 weeks holiday. So I had a little bit of a start before school, and then progressed through and principal cornet with the school band, and then a couple of local bands, Tin Twistle, who were conducted by Norman Ashcroft, wonderful player. And 14-year-old boy, I was playing well, doing okay, but I used to go for private lessons. And I can always remember he used to put the cornet on the top of his grand piano, and I had to put the mouthpiece to this.
Hang on, Garry, was this Norman Ashcroft you went for private lessons? Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So I had lessons with him, and always at the end, his wife would bring in a cup of tea and a Kit Kat. But the crux of this was Norman tried to suggest that I change my embouchure. And being 14, I thought I was doing okay. And he did say at that point, he says, if you progress and play with bigger bands and you're out on a concert schedule every weekend, he said, this is not going to hold up. It won't work.
Right.
So he was right. I went to the very first Salford College, and I was on the foundation year. So
I was going to say you were one of the founding students, yeah.
Yeah. I was on the foundation year, and then the likes of Alan Withington, Nigel Beasley, etc., were the year above me. And it wasn't the most salubrious of buildings that we studied in, but what a course, that Roy Newsom set up.
Yeah.
Fabulous. I'm sure I'll get a chance to talk about Roy further on in this, but what an influence as starters has he been in my career.
Yeah. So what band were you, as far as local bands were concerned, were you playing in any?
Yeah, initially in Whaley Bridge Band, which is close to here, and Tintwistle.
Right.
But then at 15, myself, Jeff Harrop, one or two others got invited to the Merleys Works Band.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just up the road from Fairies.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I went along and got in that, and it was a sort of stepping stone band. When I look back now, it was a works band, and the company guy came over to my house, 15-year-old, with a big pamphlet on to become, an engineer at the factory. Well, okay. Those of you who know me, my engineering skills would have been nil.
Right.
Yeah.
So I moved on from there at college, and then I joined the CWS Manchester band. This was an eye-opener to me. I look back now, and it was perhaps in its decline, but it was still such this famous name for a 16-year-old kid.
Garry, what year was that when you joined
This would be 76.
So how long did they last then from 76?
They were there another 5 years after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there were players. To me, I was the youngest player in the band by some margin. I think Dusty, Ian Dust, was the next one.
Yeah.
And some of the old 62, 63 co-op band were still there.
Okay.
Wow.
Joe Poole, Harold Lang on the basses, Lynn Williams, cornet player, famous cornet player from Gus, Tommy White, second man to Derek for many years. They were still there.
Was Derek conducting, or was he still playing?
Derek had gone. So the principal conductor was John Hudson.
Right.
And it was Trevor Worms the conducting.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was still at college, and we had various tutors that came in on a daily basis. One of the local bands, again, that are not in existence now, was East Lancashire Paper Group Band.
Mm-hmm.
So they were doing the Grand Shield contest, and they asked me to play principal cornet. And the piece was Tournament for Brass.
Ooh, a good one.
So I had cornet lessons off Rod Franks, second man at Dyke at the Black Dyke Mills, and then obviously with the LSO.
You've had some good teachers, you have, haven't you?
Yeah. But the other one that was there was Jeff Whittam.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah.
Oh, you two know Jeff Whittam.
Yeah,
we do.
He was my teacher as well.
Yeah, so he took me through and prepared me for this Tournament for Brass. And I had a good day at the Grand Shield. I think we came third, but people were talking about this young lad, on cornet. And I walked into college on the Monday morning, and he's Jeff's there at the top of the stairs, a huge, imposing figure looking down, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he said, "No, lad," he says, "I believe you've had a good day." So, big smile on my face. "Very good," he says. "And do you think you're good?"
What a question.
Well, yes, Mr. Whittam. He says, "Well, don't." And that has stuck with me all my life.
Yeah.
And he clarified it by saying, "Listen, lad, the moment you think you're any good, somebody will become along better than you."
Yeah.
And that's really stuck with me.
Yeah.
In everything I do. I always can relate back to how funny that was, but how important it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was good. Yeah, good time.
He was he was just that was the sort of thing he said all the time. When I went for lessons. Yeah. Yeah,
he said it as it was.
Oh,
he did. When I joined Black Dyke, Freddie Ellis was the secretary, and he sent me down to Jeff's. He said, go see Jeff, go and have a cup of tea with him and soak it all in. I was there for 3-4 hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he was just telling me how I should and shouldn't behave being a member of Black Dyke Mills Band.
Oh, yeah. He said the same to me when I passed my audition about October, November 81 at Dyke, and I got in the band, and then I went for my next lesson, and he was my teacher at college. And he says, "Now then, lad," he says, well done for getting in band," he says. "You know what there needs to do now?" And I thought, "Oh, great, he's gonna tell me, something that, this is your next move, do this." I says,
Yeah.
What was that? What's that? He says, keep that bloody mouth shut for a year. and that was it. He says, don't just sit there and soak up all this experience that's around you. The John Slingers and the John Cloughs and McCann and all these people, you know, Poggy and Frank Berry and all. He says, just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything now.
The other thing,
keep your head down.
Yeah, the other thing, like at the Co-op, we had a Sunday rehearsal for something, and it was the weekend of the famous Pontins at Prestatyn.
Right.
Young lads all went there for a good weekend. Rehearsal was at 2:00 Sunday afternoon. So I think it was me and Dusty set off back in good time, we thought. And the Co-op band room was down at the CIS building, down a huge escalator in the basement of. But before we got there, we were 10 minutes late. And at the top of the stairs was the band manager and the conductor.
Oh, heck.
And we got a roasting that I've never forgotten.
Right.
And we went down this escalator, like in trepidation anyway, went into the band room, and there was absolute silence. So again, it's never left me.
Yeah.
Hence, punctuality to me.
Yeah, I bet you went. I was going to say, I bet you went late again. Yeah.
No, it never happened again. But I thought I was doing good. Coming to press that in. Okay.
I don't know.
The other, I think also you talked about you going to Black Dye Mills, Sandy. Similarly for me, what makes an impression on a youngster. And the first two LPs I got, one of them was Fairies. I think it was Polished Brass.
Yeah.
And then I started to collect Black Dye Mills LPs.
Okay.
And listening to those, I thought, what a sound this is.
Yeah.
So again, my first King's Hall, the British Open, was on Diadem of Gold, and I was second man then to John Hudson. So we played, but this was my first experience of hearing Black Dye live. Also, my first experience of watching Major Peter Parks.
Right.
And Diadem of Gold, the first, 8 bars, I'm not sure. This sound emanated from this band. And again, I thought, wow, this is just a different sound, totally.
It was,
Yeah.
And then what emerged, the power of the trombone section when it gets to the, Frank Berry and the bass section. And then, of course, Philip came in with the melody.
Yeah.
And it's one of those moments that I thought, wow, this is fantastic. So again, I think listening to that band then influenced how I want to hear brass band play.
Yeah.
Just through that moment, which so special.
It's go on.
It does make you think, though. I was thinking about, we're on about people not going to contests these days, or just playing and going away, and nobody in the hall. Like, for instance, talking about the Grand Shield and all that sort of thing. When you look back, I have similar sort of things, performances, Gary, like that. When I was, what would I have been, 14, 15 maybe at the most, playing with Whitburn, and we used to run around trying to get in to listen to Black Dye playing James Cook or Connotations or whatever it was,
That's right. The King's Hall was a Warren, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Corridors.
But
when the new Black Dye was on, it was manic.
Yeah,
trying to get in.
I hope they do. I hope youngsters still go in and listen to the best bands these days to try and see what the differences might be. I don't know if they do. Yeah, no. I don't know. But that was one of the ways. And then we would wear out LPs. Like you say, I've still got all the LPs.
I learned most of the repertoire without music, I used to literally play along to the LPs, and when I got the music out, I was proper confused. Because I'd learned them another way.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
When I mentioned Roy, he was a fantastic figure. If you think what he did,
Yeah.
He was known as I was a youngster, the bandmaster, the resident conductor.
Yeah.
But how influential was he on the sound of that band? And that's the role. That is the role of what the bandmaster was about. Week in, week out, the basics have got to be right.
Yeah.
And you had an absolute master with ears second to none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he produced this sound that, he maintained that. Such an important role.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fantastic to work under, was Roy.
Yeah.
Really was.
So how did you get into the wagon then?
Okay, so when I should have listened to Mr. Ashcroft and I didn't, we'd been away a couple of jobs with the co-op, and Monday morning I literally could not get a note out of the cornet. Couldn't produce a middle G.
Wow.
So somebody said, just have a few days off, give it a little bit of rest, which I did, and it was no better. Another guy there at the college who was a bit of a specialist on embouchure was Nev Roberts, the bass trombone with the Halley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He
tried to talk me through it, and eventually it came to the decision, yes, I would go back to scratch and start again.
Okay.
And I worked hard, but it didn't happen. The co-op, they kept me on third cornet next to Lynn Williams, so.
Right.
But it never got where it got. So I decided I wanted to do something else. I'd got up to grade 8 with piano, and then
that grade 8 piano thing, Gary, you should have put that on your CV.
I got let's do piano. And I got the woman who was like the head of some of the college, Betty Coyne. She took me for piano lessons. And it was probably the only one that had real, whether it was respect or fear, I'm not sure. But I worked hard for myself and for her and got a diploma on that.
Right.
But I wanted to conduct. So Roy Newson, he knew this, and he said, come on, we'll set aside an hour a week where we can do score reading, listening to recordings, etc. So I was very fortunate to have that and to have him encouraging me like this.
I was going to say that's a heck of a start, isn't it?
Oh, at that age, I was 19.
Yeah. Wow.
And other people were there. David James.
Yeah.
Will influence. He was a character. He knew I wanted to conduct. I think the job as resident at Fairies was coming up, but I thought, no, I'm not experienced enough. I'm not old enough to do that. And we talked further, and he was one of the guys that had conducted Grimethorpe. He didn't last too long, maybe 18 months, 2 years. But he was the one that said to me, he says, listen, if you ever get the chance to go to Grimethorpe, take it.
Right.
And Whittam said the same thing. You must go. You must go. It's something totally different.
Yeah.
So from leaving college, I got invited to become the resident at Wingates, where Dennis Carr, who had conducted the Merlees band, was the professional.
Right.
And same thing. It was a massive step up. It was a proper man's band.
Yeah.
And I was 20-year-old.
Well, the likes of Len Withington there then.
Yeah, he was Southern California.
Yeah.
So Dennis said to me, he says, I'm going to put you in there 6 weeks on your own. You'll sink or you'll swim. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I swam. And that was the start of that. When I look back on my career, I've done it at the beginning level, conducting through to the top. And I started conducting a local band from where I live at Marple.
Right.
And at the same time, I got sort of 5 years experience at Wingates with Dennis. And then I invited James Scott to come as the professional.
Right.
And again, somebody who's, what a manner, reputation, everything about it. We used to call him the iron fist in the velvet glove.
Right. Yeah, he again was one of those very few that, I mean, and I obviously didn't know him as well as you did, Gary, but he was always Mr. Scott to me. He was like Mr. Howard. He was always Mr. Scott, and he'd say, "Oh, hello," he's meet him at the Open or somewhere. And, "Hello, Sandy, how are you doing?" I say, "Oh, I'm fine, Mr. Scott. Yeah, thank you." I'd never call him Jim,
Exactly.
But it was just, again, big towering presence, but experience, been there, done that, Yeah.
Same for me. I called him Mr. Scott for probably 2 years. And then one day we just said, "Hey," says Gary, he says, "I think we've been working long enough together. Please call me Jim."
Right.
But after that, I left Wingate, and then I had a year with the James Shepherd Versatile Brass, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Same as one of my first records was Jim Shepherd, playing.
Yeah.
And perhaps the first job we ever did was in Glossop Band Club.
You know what's striking me here, Gary, is that your early conducting career was surrounded by some proper characters. I mean, in VB, they had a heck of a group, didn't they?
Yeah, but not just characters, players. Quality players.
Yeah.
And the first concert was in Glossop Band Club, and Jim played. It would either be Pandora or Cleopatra.
Right.
And it was like putting the LP on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Immaculate playing.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the thrill that was. I moved on slightly then to Yorkshire Imperial, which were a very good band at the time.
Yeah, they were.
And Mr. Scott, Jim Scott, came with me to that, and we had another couple of years together there. I suppose very quickly the next one was when David King went from Swinton to Black Dyke Mills.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 6 weeks before the British Open, and I had a meeting with some people in Manchester from Swinton, and they said, "Look, David's going. Will you take us to the British Open?"
All right.
I had about 3 seconds to think about it, and I thought, yeah, this will be good.
Yeah.
And again, what a work ethic that band had.
Mm.
I wouldn't say it was full of stars. It was full of the cornerman, etc. But the work ethic and the preparation, obviously, what David had drilled into them,
mm-hmm.
it was great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story. We were obviously David came to Black Dyke, and we were in the pub one night, and he says, "We won't win the British Open. I'll tell you which band will."
Yeah, well, it was one of those. We travelled to the contest, and I think they had a bit of they were, what would you like to draw? And I said, well, not too early, 8, 9 on from there, So I said 8. We got on the coach to travel, and what do you think about the draw? I said, maybe, yeah, we got 9, and we got 9, drew number 9.
Right.
And there was this cheer went up. I have to say the evening rehearsal before was not terribly good.
Mm.
And I did about an hour and a bit. And I said, right, see you tomorrow. And the committee came running over, And they said, if this had been DK, we'd have been here till midnight. And I just thought, look, we can play the piece. Here we go. And when we came off, people said, from Marple Band that were listening, they said, it's up there. This could win. And I'm thinking, oh, give over. It was my second Open conducting.
Right.
And as it came out, we won the contest. And it was one of those that you had to play a broadcast after.
Yeah, remember that?
We'd never looked at the programme at all. Nothing. Never looked at anything. And I can remember the last piece on was Friedman's Slavonic Rhapsody number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
And it was, in the Free Trade Hall, the audience were behind the basses, weren't they? So when it got to the Allegro, they went off like a train. It was... And I must have shown my surprise, maybe on my face, to these people who found it quite amusing. But also, I hadn't taken my score to diversions for brass band on the thing. They just put a pad out, but there was no score. You had to play the piece again.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So it was broadcast with, an hour's gap before the programme went out.
That's right.
So I can remember then saying, can somebody in the audience lend me a score?
Yeah.
During the recording, which of course we edit out, but that's how it was. And again, so proud, really, it was the first year that the Mortimer Maestro was awarded.
Right, the trophy.
Totally quite unique. It's different than all the ones that come out now. Have Harry with a bat on a huge marble plinth. It's fantastic, and it weighs
a lot. Yeah. So how old were you at that stage, Gary? You can't have been that old.
I was just 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've won your first British Open. That's incredible.
Yeah. And then the invitation to Grindthorpe came. And I'd been working as a peripatetic teacher, brass teacher. And I wasn't particularly happy with that, the paperwork that started to go with it. And I wanted to conduct. That's,
Yeah.
So again, I thought back to what David James had said, if you get the invite, go. And that started for me with a wonderful, 13 years, 12, 13 years. That's quite a unique band, and it was unique.
Oh, yeah.
Believe me, it was unique.
Oh.
As you both know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I used to scratch my head with them.
Yeah. But I went at a time when it was... started working with the band in January 91, and 19 of the band were employed at the colliery.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks before a contest, we could rehearse every morning.
Mm-hmm.
They moved the start time from 9 to 9:30 because I was travelling from Gloucester. And Ken Hurst, the band manager, he said to me, I said, what do we do? 2 hours? He said, yeah. He says, but if you can keep them interested till about 11:10, that'd be good. And the area piece was Journey into Freedom. Well, I loved it. And when we got to the evening rehearsal, I say there were the 19 employed, but other members that worked outside, Kevin Crockford, Steve Peacock, bassers that had gone from the colliery, they came into rehearsals. So it was almost like having a full band every morning for 2 weeks.
Right.
And you could do loads of work on intonation, on balance, and, the basics of keeping that. And I can remember starting Journey into Freedom, bar 1 to bar 5, without the triplets, just the band quavers.
Yeah.
And I spent 45 minutes doing that.
Right.
For the balance,
length,
precision, length, you name it.
Yeah.
And it paid off, and that started a great time at Grindthorpe.
It was wonderful. You were resident there at first, weren't you?
Yeah.
And were you? Yes, you were. You were involved around the time of 90. Was it 92 when the pitch closed?
Yeah.
And I think Frank took the band on stage, but no doubt you were involved then. Did it really affect the band?
It did. They were a very extremely close-knit band.
Yeah.
Like all bands are or should be.
Yeah.
But this really was. There was a lot of those players went through the 84 strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they weren't paid. They had to share food.
Yeah.
And that made that closeness, if you like, that was always there.
Yeah.
They
stuck by each other like glue, didn't they?
Absolutely. And they would do anything for you.
Yeah.
They really would. If we seemed to have a mutual respect and enjoyment. That we would talk these days about the characters. Well, they had a bandful. So
full of it.
I say a bandful and a handful.
Yeah.
And the humour was brilliant. I don't think it was malicious.
No.
But it was the spontaneity of humour was fantastic. Garry Howarth, he used to love it.
They were quick, weren't they?
Oh, unbelievably.
Gary, you were on about stories, and there's hundreds of them. But the one where dear Cliff Hopes, who's passed away sadly recently, there was a brilliant story about him with a foreign conductor.
That's right. I mentioned about maybe the short tenure of some conductors, and it got that way with some of the professionals. It didn't last long. So time to time they'd say, right, Garry, will you take us to the British Open? Will you do this? I did. But Ken Hurst had always said, and he valued concerts immensely for Granthorpe. That's what they did well. And he said, look, stay away from doing the contests if you can, you know? Mm. So next thing, we'd been to Switzerland and the band had seen a chap conducting over there, maybe one of the army bands or something like this, Andreas Sporri. Next thing I know, they'd booked him to conduct them at the British Open.
Right.
Now, I was a little bit perplexed by this. So the next rehearsal, I just said to them, do you think this is a good decision? This band, Grimethorpe Colliery Band, bringing in a foreign conductor who you've never played for. There might be a language barrier. I'm not, I don't know. It just seems a strange decision. Yeah, you look fantastic, was the reply. Oh, okay. So I arranged to meet him from his hotel and took him over to the first rehearsal. And the band's sort of reputation seemed to go before them. And you could tell this guy was a tiny bit on edge, Welcomes him to the rehearsal. And first of all, he starts doing some warm-ups, scales and things. I wonder how this will go. But Grant thought they got on with it. And then he starts talking about the piece. Just as that, a hand went up from the floor. It was Cliff Hobbs, second baritone. He says, excuse me, he says, how do we address thee? His face was, sorry? What do we call thee? Well, is it Mr. Sporty, Maestro? And the guy said, lovely man. He said, no, please call me Andreas. And Cliff said, thank you, I'm Mr. Hobbs. Continue.
Deary me. That's just typical.
17th.
Did they? That's just typical, though, of some of the stuff. Yeah. So, Grimy, the highlights of Grimy then, that you were there?
Many. I said there was a big turning point, obviously, after the film.
Yeah.
They already had a fabulous reputation all over the world, really. But as you know, the tours that came in from that were just second to none, What did we do? 3 Australias.
I can't remember, honestly.
2 Japans, New Zealand, Hong Kong, all over Europe. So, Carnegie Hall, New York. How many can say they've conducted or played there?
Yeah.
And I remember for the Carnegie, I think every soloist, I featured every one, so they could say.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
I played a solo in Carnegie Hall.
I played in Carnegie Hall, Dunfermline as well. There you go. No, they were good though. I mean, and those, because I came to the band and we'd had a chat because I'd come to help out a concert in Wakefield. Next thing, I had John Hudson round me. You fancy coming, all this, and I thought, and then you told me, you says, look, Mr. Howard's going to get involved again with the band. He's going to do some of his stuff, his type of concerts and all that. So that was me sold straight away. And there was all that stuff that he did, obviously. But then just the general concerts, they were slick as hell, weren't they? They were.
They always had this sort of demeanour before they went on stage. Sometimes, especially on the tours, it was chaotic. We used to start, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Lucerne song.
Yeah.
And as a conductor, I'd be thinking, oh, my word, what's going to happen next? But as soon as the first player went through that, and then as the piece built, Mr. Harris' Lucerne song, it was fantastic. They had this ability to switch on. And it was, from a conductor's point of view, it was like a Rolls Royce.
There was just something about the concerts that it was more than just playing the music. It was, and it wasn't contrived. Like you see an awful lot of stuff. People want, moving about and standing, and then they move back and they do this. It's all a bit sort of contrived and made up, I think, these days. But this was just spontaneous. Yeah, it was.
They used to cook it all up themselves, though, didn't they?
Yeah, but as a conductor, I never knew what was going to happen.
No.
but that was the fun. I used to find it hilarious. It was brilliant.
It would occasionally get slightly out of hand, and then you'd have to say, right, come on now, we need to just rein it in a bit. Let's get back on track. But
if you've got characters like Dean Morley and Sean Crowther,
yeah, exactly,
it's bound to get out of hand a little bit. But they were brilliant. When I said, listen, it's getting a bit, it's too much. Let's just calm down.
But in general, it was slick as hell. There were silly little things. I remember Cliff Hopes again. I think we played something from Khachaturian, Spartacus. It might have been the Adagio, the Needle thing or something. It might have been something. Next thing, you made some sort of comment. Cliff shouts out, "I'm Spartacus." And then some other, Frosty or I'm Spartacus, I'm Spartacus, and just silly things like that would happen once, but then it's straight as somebody said it, they all cottoned on and it went haywire for about 20 seconds and then back on track, It's just silly things like that. But they really enjoyed it.
Sometimes if I'm feeling a bit down, I go on YouTube and look at that concert from Little Rock.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Absolutely hilarious.
Lolinardi. Oh, no, well, there is Lolinardi, but there's also Sean doing Shardas and
Nigel.
And Nige doing the cuckoo. Yeah. It was just
it's funny.
You just didn't know what the hell was going to happen.
No.
But
there are so many stories. I mean, I could sit here, I could write a book just of my time.
Yeah.
There's another one before my time, another former resident conductor, and I think it came to the point where people, when they'd had enough in rehearsal, you'd be looking at the watches.
Mm.
So he decided he'd ban wristwatches. So the next rehearsal, laughter goes round the band, and there's Brian Smith with a wristwatch round his ankle.
Oh dear.
Because they used to click the case captures, didn't they, and all sorts.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I can remember doing it myself, Sandy, when you were involved, and we, the brass in concert programs. I was so fortunate to have you, who did the special arrangements for the soloist that we had, the band that we had, etc. And I can remember rehearsing 4 brass in concert, and this was like Thursday night, and I went to 9:20, which was absolutely unheard of.
Mm.
We finished 7 till 9 then. And eventually Ray Curry, who was one of the characters, he says, "Excuse me, guys, have you got a new watch?" They didn't mind because they loved doing the brass in concert.
Yeah.
That was their baby, and we used to love it.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Let me indulge myself. I got Derek Simon, your mate, Derek Jackson, to come and help out.
Mm.
And we did some of the big contests, and the first one was Les Prelude.
That's right.
Mr. Howarth came up, had a listen, had a wag with the band and whatever. Great. I'm conducting the band, and I think very much, not comparing myself to Algarve, but sometimes my beat was quite minimal,
Yeah.
So the first 2 notes of Les Prelude, it's the tubas. And Derek's there, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it wasn't that good. And the half moon glasses came down. "Excuse me, Gary," he says, "I can't see the beat."
Yeah.
And then brass in concert, I think my last one, we were on for a hat trick.
Yeah.
Band were playing well. And my sort of pre-performance speech was, "Well, lads, let's just go on and enjoy." I never talked about winning the contest. I said, let's just go on and do what we do and do it well. Yeah, good music, great arrangements, good music, play well. I said, and when we walk out, smile. Excuse me. I have a problem with that. He says, I know you do. You're a miserable old git. No. But don't worry, he says, I can take a tablet. It'll last half an hour. So we went on and did our thing. The band played superb. And I'm coming off and he put his arm around me. He says, see? And the smile went in. He says, it's wearing off now. But it's characters like this that, oh my word, I've been so, I think, so fortunate in mixing and conducting people like this. Wonderful.
So, Gary, as far as conducting's concerned, right?
Yeah.
What do you think are the key ingredients for success for a conductor?
Again, what I would go back to is the influence Roy Newsom had on me of putting the basics in place. The basics of ensemble, uniform length of notes, dynamics, balance, intonation. They've all got to be good, haven't they?
Yeah.
If you're going to produce a good sound. And I think we're, talking about my sort of career, I was so fortunate to work with, I think, the best names in, the generation before me. Mm-hmm. Your Dennis Carrs, your Roy Newsons, Peter Parks. Especially Elgar Howarth, a different plane totally. But again, I had all that. And I used to go to all the majors rehearsals, if I could just learn something.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, basically, you have to have all those basics of a band's sound. Mm. I clearly had a band, how I want to hear a band's sound. I'm not sure that goes on these days. I think maybe people see, or conductors see double 40, right, it's double 40, blow.
All in.
There's not enough that thought. Double 40 can be there, it can be there, it can be there. There's got to be variation in creating what suits the music.
Yeah.
We're talking once those are in place. But for me now, there's no band stand out with the real sound. A real sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by this, don't you?
Yeah,
yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Garry Howard said, I'd been there maybe 5 years and what have you, and I couldn't believe the volume, the volume of sound that Grattan Thorpe could produce. I just could not. I've never heard anything like this. End of Minster, I'm seeing 340s, and I'm thinking, where on earth is it going to go from here? But the fact that there's another gear, and it sounds easy, and it's not overblown.
No,
it's just
huge.
But I think in my time, I did influence the band a touch, and if there was an edge on it, I would. And Garry Howard said to me, he says, Cutt, he says, it used to be a little bit craggy, the sound here. He says, but it's rounder. Mm. And I suppose, that's what I thought a band should sound like.
Bands had that more individualistic, is that a word, sound?
Yeah.
In them days, you could tell Fairies, you could tell Fordens, you could tell Black Dyke, you could tell Granthorpe.
Yeah, they were all quite different.
Yeah.
Mainly, a lot of the influence, of course, was from the principal cornet, the euphonium, etc.
Yeah.
But the style of the bands they were quite unique to each other.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
The old Munn and Felton's rhythm.
Yeah.
Absolute precise rhythm. Precise. And that was Stanley Boddington, who was there 40 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fairies used to be a very light band, delicate touch. Granthorpe, a heavy band, Black Dyke, sound like an organ. You could go on forever. But, look back to that era of your Fairies with your Norman Ashcrofts, your Derek Garsides, they all had individual styles, and the bands had individual styles.
Mm.
And charisma. You could tell who they were, brilliant. They all sound the same today, I think.
You're not far wrong there, Garry, at all.
It's sad to say, very sad to say. There's real identity to any band now.
Yeah. It's strange. So after Grimy, where did you go then? Did you end up at Foden's?
Yeah, I made the decision. I'd been there 12 years, and I put my notice in, and I did stay another 6 months for the Bresson concert.
Yeah.
No plans to go anywhere, but I ended up for a very short spell at Leyland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I did the area. This is an interesting one. I did the area, and it was Tristan Encounters melody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we needed a cornet player on the front row, ideally a principal cornet player. Now, the solo horn was Rosie King.
Mm.
I said, Rosie, have a word with your dear husband and see whether he'd fancy principal cornet. And he came straight back to me and said, I won't sit principal cornet, Gary. He says, but I'll sit third man if you like. I said, well, you sit third man and play these solos. So David came and helped out. What a player.
I remember that performance. It was a cracker.
What a player. And it's that sort of influence, people like that, people had forgotten. Didn't realise how good David King was. He'd not played for 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
He brought a solo album out a couple of years. It's astonishing.
Yes. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. So, as I say, I did that, did the Masters, and then purely out of, by chance, I got a call from Foden's, and we're talking 12 days before the contest, the Open.
Mm-hmm.
Bram Tovey had double booked. It was either the New York Phil or conducting at the British Open. Strangely enough, he did the New York Phil.
Yeah.
And it was the year that it was 3 test pieces. And Foden's they hadn't decided what they were playing. So I said, well, if I can have a little influence on that, can we do contest music? And we did, and we worked for 9 days solid. 9 days solid on contest music. And wonderful music. Wycherley was on for. Wycherley was at the top of his game, and I can remember walking out. He says, "Good." He says, "Let's walk out and make a bit of history." So again, it was a great moment. Foden's hadn't won the Open for 40 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Won that. So I stayed there for 5 years, and we had a lot of success. 11 titles, another Open, which was in 2008, but quite tragic. My brother died literally 12 hours before.
Yeah, I remember.
And the middle section of Rococo was a sort of funereal. And whether, you just don't know how you're going to get through things like this.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, Foden's were brilliant that day, the passion, and they won the day.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you're at Foden's, you've had great success at Foden's. What we are missing is this journey at Marple.
It all started in the April of the year, and they said, they got rid of a conductor, can you come and do a concert? It's only 7 miles down the road for me.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. Right. Next thing, we've got Buxton contest, in the glass octagon building, great event for bands. Will you take us to that? So I said, yeah, I would, yeah. I says, on the condition, everybody's here for rehearsals. Yeah, and we start punctual, on time. And we rehearsed at a Liberal club, and they had a bit of a break. And next thing, there's cigarettes on the stand, and I thought, no. So I just made my point about that. And, it was Egmont Overture.
Yeah.
We played number 1 to about 30 people, and we won the day. And I thought, I'll stay here and just do a bit as and when.
Yeah.
And '86, we won the national and the area, the national Pontins, etc. A year behind David Swinton Band. And we sort of emulated what they did. And yeah, I had good cornermen.
Right.
But not so great. Some of the other chairs you wouldn't believe, really, to be honest. Not that good at all. But it was a team spirit. They were all there for rehearsals, and the journey sort of began.
Yeah.
And I do think, and I don't mean to be derogatory these days, but the standard that we were playing at the top of the third section then, so I'm talking 86, so 40 years ago, is probably now the top of the first section.
Yeah.
And there is the difference.
Yeah. We've often wondered about this, haven't we, Sandy?
We've often talked about it, that, you know, we seem to be, this pyramid that we've got is getting upside down, and there's too many bands think they're top section. And every time it happens, I just say, look, go and listen to the recordings. Go and listen to the standard of the good stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have less bands. We have far more borrowing of players, and everything's supposed to be, you know, fantastic. And
it used to be the other round, wasn't it? The other way around, that bands from Norway were borrowing
English players
that way, and English conductors.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now we are borrowing foreign players to come and do our contests.
Yeah.
I mentioned Norway. I worked there for sort of 30 years with various bands, you know, and the level, let's put it this way, the level of the first section in Norway is really quite something.
Yeah.
There might be 12 bands, but seriously, any one of the top 6, 7, 8 could win the national. That group of, but what tends to happen, some bands move into the elite, last a couple of years, and then come down. But the standard at that level, and even the lower levels, you know, the schools were bringing loads and loads of players in. Standard of school bands is good. I think in many ways, you know, still the top sort of 3 in Norway, they're a bit above.
Yeah.
But occasionally you can get the odd band that'll do it.
This can be replicated in England, because we don't have 80 championship bands. We've probably got about 15 at max.
But what Norway have that we don't is they have sort of government backing. They have educational backing.
Yes.
They have that. We have naff all now educationally. You know, you just look round at what's happening in schools. And there's some brave efforts going on and some wonderful people trying to hold the thing together and that. But there's no real input. Yeah. I often think that Norway's in a position now, because you look back at when their band movement really sort of started and blossomed out. I think that the bands in Norway, Switzerland, Belgium, all those sort of places now, the top bands, they're operating with the same sort of passion and commitment that we had in the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s even. And where band was everything for these people. Yeah. And nowadays, I don't think we have that. And I think that's where they're scoring. Even a little thing like, on the last podcast, Gary, we did a little bit about Kathleen Gaspoz's thing about early draws affecting and all that. Now, this was the sort of thing that we were banging on about going back then, saying it was unfair. It seems like they're into it so much now. They're picking up on all these things, and maybe for the first time, and they've got the passion and the commitment to try and change it. But I just think that, you know, you hear some of the stories about how, you know, bands like Willebroek rehearsing 29 days out of 30 before the Europeans. You know, I mean, that's extraordinary.
Let me give you another, Switzerland, Tres Etoiles. They've been, you know, for the last few years. I used to go and have 4 days with Fred when they were preparing for their national or the Swiss Open. And then David did it for a couple of years. And my first visit, this wonderful band room, the Gio Pierre Morin. Fabulous. Fabulous facility. And we did our first rehearsal on the Friday night, 7 till 10. And then said, oh, Garry, the Cornets would like a sectional with you tomorrow, if that's okay. I said, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I said, what time? And they said, 8:30. And they must have seen the look on my face. And they said, we can put it back if you want. And I thought, no, 8:30. I said, we're 10 minutes, aren't we, from my hotel to there. I want to be there at 8:10.
Yep.
I turned up at 8:10 and every single cornet player was sat in the seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, can one imagine saying to any band in this country, we're starting at 8:30?
Yeah. And then them turning up at 8:10.
Yeah.
No.
But it's the work ethic. I think, now we look at results that are coming through. Flowers bands seem to have the right work ethic.
Yeah, they do. You've said this before.
They've got a great team. Look at the cornermen that they've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've had a lot of that core band are still there.
We've been watching the music they play as well, Garry.
Yeah. With Paul Holland.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They're doing a great job.
It is repertoire as well, though. You were just saying, Garry, we have noticed that there are one or two bands trying still to play really top quality concert music all the time, right? But they're very few and far between. But Flowers is one. Yeah. They are playing very, very good quality concert music, so that the standard doesn't fall away too far in just the run-of-the-mill stuff that they're doing.
Yes, yeah. And a lot of it is not the technique, is it? It's not all this fast and furious stuff.
No.
It is music that exposes different things that as a brass player, it's more difficult to do.
Yeah.
Playing quiet, coming in exactly on time, listening to the phrases, things like this, which I don't think we can really do these days.
No, you can go into a band room these days and within 2 minutes suss them out because ask them to play quiet and they can't do it.
No.
Not with the same balance as they can at Big Dynamics.
Yeah.
Safety and dynamics, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, Garry, I think we'd probably all agree that things have changed. That maybe the foreign bands at the moment have a better work ethic. They're really enthusiastic about what they do. Where do we go from here to try and we are playing catch up a little bit? I mean, I don't know how we go. How do we go about solving some of these issues that I think British banding has at the minute?
That's a huge question, isn't it? Because I think things have changed so much in this country.
Yeah.
How bands operate. In the defence, like maybe 20, 30 years ago, we could the top bands were out every weekend, weren't they?
Yeah.
And we could put music out, just turn music over. Yeah. And it would be played to a high standard. I don't think we can do that anymore.
No.
Well, one of the things we used to do, and you were heavily involved in this, is when we used to do those scratch band jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Where you would just get a phone call, 10 days before or something. We're in Close-Up Band Club or Dob X or Borshurst or whatever.
The Swan.
Scratch band, Garry's conducting. Can you do it? Yeah. Do you want a solo? Yeah. Just bring a solo. Right. Okay. And that was it. We never knew what was on.
No, we didn't know what was on.
We just turned up and played.
Yeah. And
I don't think you could do that these days.
No.
Not to that standard.
No, but I just don't think that players know enough of the general repertoire.
Yeah.
Because they're all doing their own things,
Yeah. You think back to those concerts and we'd have, pick the best trombone section, the best bass section, whatever, put them together, generally from 3 bands, wasn't it? From
Yeah.
Black Knight Mills, Fairies, Foldens, or whatever.
Yeah.
We'd have a different principal cornet now and again. Philip did lots of them. Roger, you know.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was good fun.
We did a lot of, everything was for charity.
Yeah.
So we did a great job. But the thrill of it was coming together, no rehearsal whatsoever. And I can remember we put Spectrum on for the reason, I think one of the bands had recorded it and one had been playing it. But
yeah,
could you imagine putting that on? And it was played to a fantastic standard.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is that a lot of bands these days, even in their normal concerts, are hampered by depths. They can't play bespoke music. They can't play the sort of standard stuff we used to do.
But, I mean,
you could just come in as a dep and Force of Destiny's on. I know it. That's fine. Yeah. I don't think they do that now.
People, sadly, they look down on some of this repertoire, which is the staple brass band stuff.
Yeah.
Orchestras still play the Beethovens and the Mozarts and whatever.
It's strange you mention that, because we're going to do over the summer a bit of one about playing classical music arrangements and the benefits. And I don't think a lot of bands do it. And I think there are certain reasons for it, which we won't go into now. But you're right, Gary. Go on. Yeah. Carry on.
It's still they would still be popular.
Yeah.
Massively.
But again, it's looked down upon by players. You know, let's think of Eric Ball. And you mentioned that, or you mentioned Resurgam. And you will hear the comments, "Oh, it's too easy." Well, give me a band that can play the first 4 bars in tune, with balance, perfect balance, and actually say something.
Yeah, and it's the saying something, but
the souls of the righteous are in the hands of God. Actually convey something rather than they don't think deep enough.
I think you're right about the looking down on things, or I think there's a fear factor there in a lot of cases. I think there's absolutely scared to bits about music.
We've talked about arrangers that when we came through banding, the big name was Gordon Langford.
Yeah.
They look down on that, but I don't think there's a bad Gordon Langford arranger.
No,
there isn't. Certainly not.
It's fantastic.
No, there's a bit of hiding behind the fact, and a lot of the orchestral stuff that doesn't get played, it's because it's too hard for them.
Yeah. Or do they know what to do with it?
Exactly.
Which is sad. It's really sad, I think.
I think it's playing that sort of stuff is to the band's benefit. Everything about it, musically, technically, everything.
It's going to improve everything.
But it's harder. And if you've got a lot of depths coming in for concerts, you're going to have you can't do it. No. You just can't do it.
No.
And I think that does hamper bands these days. I don't think
undoubtedly
people are as well read as they think they are.
Yeah. But again, that is sadly where we are, where a lot of bands are turning out, and I do mean at the top echelons as well, with too many depths.
Yeah. Far too many.
You know, let's go back just to Grimethorpe days, and the principal players that we had, that's what the audience wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to hear your Richard Marshall's play, your Sandy Smiths, your Michael Doves. They expected that.
Yeah.
But we understood that, and there's very, very few people missed the rehearsal.
Yeah, there was.
Concert. And that's what breeds the consistency, everything about it. You can't make that progress these days because people sadly feel it's okay to miss a rehearsal for the paltry excuse.
Yeah.
It's just not on.
Yeah.
And that's
I think that, the foreigners, they're on it. I think they're absolutely at that peak moment where we were maybe 30, 40 years ago. They're absolutely passionate and hard-working and wanting to learn and keen. And we seem to have sort of gone over that hill. And I think it's more and more difficult.
For the contest preparation, I'm not sure I could be doing 6 weeks on a test piece.
No.
And we didn't used to do that. I didn't care.
No, we didn't.
At Marple, we'd do 3 weeks maximum. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they knew from, we just had more in 2 weeks before, and then from the Sunday we did all day, and then they were expected to be there every night.
Exactly.
And that was it.
Yeah.
I couldn't be, Norway, Switzerland. The time that they put in is admirable, and they do their own sectionals. Section leaders do this weeks before.
Yeah.
So the preparation of the individual players and the sections when they come to put it together, there's so much work been done.
Yeah.
I
was at a family do this weekend, and my mum was sort of reminiscing what my life used to be like. And it was when I was at Blackdyke, and she said, you used to get off the bus in Queensbury, go straight up to the band room. You were there for 2 hours. You'd come home at about 7:30 for your tea. You'd have your tea within half an hour, and you'd walk straight back up to the band room and not come out till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I thought, I did. Yeah.
I forgot. My first conducting thing was Middleton. Just before the Wingates thing. I couldn't drive. So a Sunday rehearsal for me entailed leaving the house on Shire Way, getting a bus to Manchester at 9:15, getting another bus from Manchester to Middleton to start rehearsal at 11 till 1.
Yeah.
I'd enjoy a pint afterwards, and the same thing coming back. So I didn't get back till 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
But I never missed a rehearsal. I was never late.
No.
That just seemed a natural thing for me.
Okay, Gary. So thank you very much for joining us on this very hot, sunny day. And, it's been great having you on board, Smith and Grezzy. And we've all known each other for a long time. And, it's fantastic when people like yourself let your life stories in banding go for others to listen to. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I've, from the start of the piano lessons, the cornet took over.
Yeah.
And I can remember my dad, I failed my O-levels miserably. I got music and woodwork, hence the woodwork teacher. And he used to say to me, you'll never make a living playing a cornet or in brass bands.
I had the same.
I've had a fantastic career, enjoyable career in brass bands.
Yeah.
You see, you'd be those two O-levels you got, music and woodwork, so they'd both be handy, because the music one would be handy for the brass players and the woodwork one would be handy for the percussionists.
Absolutely. the shed builders.
Garry Cutt, the Marple Maestro, thank you very much from us.
Thanks very much. Cheers, chaps.